សួស្តីអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាអូខេសុខសប្បាយជាទេទាំងអស់គ្នាអូខេនេះគឺជាវីដេអូដែលខ្ញុំនឹងរៀបចំពាក់ព័ន្ធជាមួយអំណាចនៃរឿងមួយដែលយើងនឹងសិក្សាអំពី literature ទាំងអស់គ្នាណាអូខេដែលជាប្រភេទនៃរឿងខ្លីៗតែប៉ុណ្ណោះណាអញ្ចឹងនេះគឺជាការអានណាបើយើងនិយាយទៅគឺជាអំណាចនៃរឿង portions ណាចឹងនៅក្នុងវីដេអូនេះខ្ញុំនឹងអានឲ្យគ្នាយើងស្ដាប់ទាំងអស់គ្នាណាហើយយើងខ្ញុំសង្ឃឹមថាគ្នាយើងនឹងព្យាយាមអានទៅតាមខ្ញុំក៏ដូចជាព្យាយាមប្រណោនទៅលើពាក្យផ្សេងស្ថិតនៅក្នុងអត្ថបទមួយនេះទាំងអស់គ្នាណាអូខេនេះគឺជាភាគទី1ណា portion episode 1ណាអូខេតោះយើងចាប់ផ្ដើមទាំងអស់គ្នាអានជាមួយគ្នាអូខេតោះយើងអានជាមួយខ្ញុំទាំងអស់គ្នាអូខេអញ្ចឹងយើងbe careful ណា try to read try to follow me Portion by Ronald Dahl នៅក្នុងឆ្នាំ1916ដល់ឆ្នាំ1990ណា Okay let's start reading It must have been around midnight when I drove home, and as I approached the gates of the bungalow, I switched off the headlamps of the car so the beam wouldn't swing in the window of the side bedroom and wake Harry Pop. But I needn't have bothered. Coming up the drive, I noticed his light was still on, so he was away, unless perhaps he'd rubbed off while reading. I parked the car and went up the 5 steps to the balcony. Counting each step carefully in the bag so I wouldn't take an extra one which wasn't there. When I got to the top, I crossed the balcony, pushed through the screen doors into the house itself, and switched on the light in the hall. I went across to the door of Harry's room, opened it quietly, and looked in. He was lying on the bed and I could see he was awake, but he didn't move. He didn't even turn his head towards to me, but I heard him say, Timber, Timber, come here. He spoke slowly, whispering each word carefully, separately, and I pushed the door right open and started to go quickly across the room. Stop, wait a moment, Timber. I could hardly hear what he was saying. He seems to be straining enormously to get the words out. What's the matter, Harry? Shh. He whispers, shh. For God's sake, don't make a noise. Take your shoes off before you come nearer. Please do as I say, Timber. The way he was speaking reminded me of George Bowling after he got shot in the stomach. When he stood leaning against a crate containing a separate airplane engine, holding both hands on his stomach and saying things about the German pilot in just the same hoarse, straining half whispers Harry was using now. Quickly, Timber, but take your shoes off first. I couldn't understand about taking off the shoes, but I figured that if he was as it ill, he sounded at better humor him. So I bent down and removed the shoes and left them in the middle of the floor. Then I went over his bed. Don't touch the bed. For God's sake, don't touch the bed. He was still speaking like he'd been shot in the stomach, and I could see him lying there on his back with a single sheet covering 3/4 of his body. He was wearing a pair of pyjamas, it with blue, brown, and white stripes, and he was sweating terribly. It was a hot night, and I was waiting a little myself, but not like Harry. His whole face was wet, and the pillows around his head was sodden with moisture. It looked like a bad go of malaria to me. What was it? What is it, Harry? A rat, he said. A rat? Oh my God! Where it bite you? How long ago? Shut up, he whispered. Listen, Harry, I said. I leaned forward and touched his shoulder. We've got to be quick. Come on now, quickly. Tell me where it bit you. He was lying there very still and tense as though he was holding on to himself hard because of sharp pain. I haven't been bitten, he whispers. Not yet, it's on my stomach, lying there asleep. I look a quick peck backwards. I couldn't have it, and I stare at his stomach, or rather at the sheet and cover it. The sheet was rumpled in several places, and it was impossible to tell if there was anything underneath. You don't really mean there's a crate lying on your stomach now? I swear it. How did it get there? I shouldn't have asked the questions because it was easy to see he wasn't fooling. I should have told him to keep quiet. I was reading, Harry said, and he spoke very slowly, taking each word in turn and speaking it carefully so as not to move the muscles of his stomach. Lying on my back reading, and I felt something on my chest behind the book, soft of tickling. Then out of the corner of my eye saw this little crate sliding over my pyjamas, small, about 10 inches. Knew I mustn't move. Couldn't have any way. Lie there watching it. Thought it would go over top of the sheet. Harry paused and was silent for a few moments. His eyes looked down along his body towards the place where the sheet covered his stomach, and I could see he was watching to make sure his whispering wasn't disturbing the thing that lay there. There was a fowl in the sheet, he said, speaking more slowly than ever, more now and so softly. I had to lean close to him. See it. It's still there. It went under that. I could feel it through my pajamas, moving on my stomach. Then it stopped moving, and now it's lying there in the warmth, probably asleep. I've been waiting for you. Raised his eyes and looked at me. How long ago? Hours? He whispers. Hours and bloody hours and hours. I can't keep still much longer. I've been wanting to cough. There was not much doubt about the truth of Harry's story. As a matter of fact, it wasn't a surprising thing for a crate to do. They hang around people's houses and they go for the warm places. The surprising thing was that Harry hadn't been bitten. The bite is quite deadly, except sometimes when you catch it at once. អូខេអញ្ចឹងសម្រាប់វីដេអូមួយនេះខ្ញុំសូមបញ្ចប់ត្រឹមប៉ុណ្ណេះអូខេអរគុណច្រើនសម្រាប់ការមើលនិងស្ដាប់ណាហើយនឹងថាតាមអ្វីដែលខ្ញុំបានអានឲ្យគ្នាយើងស្ដាប់ទាំងអស់គ្នាអរគុណច្រើនអូខេជួបគ្នានៅក្នុងវីដេអូទី2នៃរឿង portion បន្តទៀតណា See you in next video